9/11. It is the 8th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks.
And obviously everybody has memories of where they were on this day. And Congressman Brian Bilbray is on the phone to reflect on 9/11 and talk about where we are in the war on terrorism. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. Honor to be with you this morning.
And thank you for joining us. And we know that there's ceremonies going on right over across the river from you. There's one at the Pentagon, and I know a variety of ways that they are marking this day. And just wanted to talk to you, get your reflections on this.
Well, I mean, I think we all remember. I actually was 2 blocks from the White House meeting with the Immigration Commissioner, and I think that the one thing that we forget about is how much confusion there was when the first jet hit. No one, there were talk of it being a small plane. We didn't know what went on. The reports were somebody must have lost navigation. It wasn't until that second jet hit the second tower that the reality really sprang into our minds, the reality that America was under attack, that this was a purposeful assault against the American people. And I think that was the transforming moment in our age, is at least in our generation, of seeing that second jet hit. And the words I remember immediately after that second jet hit was the Commissioner for Immigration Control for the United States turning to me and say, "Congressman, can you imagine being the agents who allowed these guys into the country?" And boy, time has really sort of reinforced his statement.
Sure has.
8 years later, a lot has changed in America, and still Osama bin Laden is out there somewhere.
He's out there somewhere. The fact is that his organization has been so broken, so busted up, and so severely hurt that our biggest problem now is that the small fragments of what used to be his organization are so fragmented and so broken up that it's hard to track all of them down in their small little groups. So we do have a major problem, and one of the major problems is the product of our success of the breakup. And Sandra, who would have thought 8 years ago on this date that we could say that that America would go 8 years without another major attack? That is extraordinary, and we ought to sort of thank and congratulate ourselves on that. At the same time, understanding that there were 4 to 5 major plans to attack us again that have been avoided. But at the same time, sadly, we're hearing people here in Washington just yesterday. You have senators that are talking about eliminating the items that were done under the 9/11 Commission, things like requiring a valid ID to get onto an airplane. Who would ever thought that would be even considered? Or restructuring the transportation security system and allowing it, to operate on a more civilian footing rather than being so flexible to be able to address the concerns. And
Congressman, let me ask you about our efforts to go after these guys now. Obviously, we're in Afghanistan and Pakistan, which is where presumably, bin Laden is hanging out with his band of creeps. But nonetheless, do you support the further buildup of troops there, and do you think that this war in Afghanistan is actually doing the right thing in terms of getting terrorists?
Well, look, I've got an advantage. I've got people who are second-generation Americans who are in Afghanistan, and I have a concern that we're going to go in with troops. But where the big mistake, Dan, was made in Afghanistan was that the nonprofits that went in that were supposed to build the economic and the societal structures basically have really botched the whole operation. And I think before we start talking about major military operations, we need to take a look at where our money has gone in Afghanistan for these so-called nonprofits to develop economic and social development. We still have young ladies that are being attacked for going to school in Afghanistan. And I think that we need to take a look at this thing before we jump into it. I think that the surge in Iraq worked. I think we all recognize that though there was a major problem and concern about it, it did work. But I think Afghanistan's different. We need to take a look at this. So I'm a little more measured than most Republicans on this item.
Congressman, we've been looking at live pictures throughout the country of various memorial services. Several somber ceremonies are scheduled here in San Diego, from the Midway Museum to Balboa Park, and at every firehouse in the county, basically, the victims are being remembered. How will you be spending today?
I'm actually going to take a group through the Capitol today. And, let me tell you something. I do a lot of tours of the Capitol for people coming back from San Diego. And every time someone says, thank you for allowing me to see the Capitol, I said, no, you thank the men and women in flight, in the United flight that went down on the field in Pennsylvania, because they're not remembered even enough. But we've got to remember that not only did they save a lot of lives, but we have a Capitol of the United States today because they were brave enough to do the right thing, because that plane was supposed to come in and hit us here at the Capitol. And so we still have this monument to the American Republic and the concept of self-governance, because they were brave enough to, in the battle cry, let's roll.
Let's roll. I'll never forget those words.
Congressman Bilbray, thank you very much for talking with us this morning on Good Morning San Diego. We do appreciate your time.
And thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right.